Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming into another video. All right, so I want to react to something I just read, and it was um, Sam Amick, I believe it was. Don't quote me if that's the wrong person, but I just read someone's screenshot. They said that it's becoming more and more likely that Russell Westbrook may be remaining with the Los Angeles Lakers for this particular season. And here is how I look at that. Um, the Lakers need to treat Russell Westbrook's contract like anybody else would treat Russell Westbrook's contract if they acquired it in trade. If we can't trade it, you just stretch it. That's it. You do not keep him at that price. If you want him to play for your team next year, you get that contract away from the player and then you resign him at a price that makes sense to you. Now, we're not in a position to do that, obviously, because we retain the contract itself. So we need to be able to trade that 47 million for something that represents what 47 million actually is in NBA standards, because clearly he is not that this season. The Lakers are not in a position to retain Russell Westbrook properly. This is a mistake if they were to do this. It has nothing to do with whether or not he can play for you or not. It's about $47 million being represented in him, one single person who can't give you that type of production. $47 million is what Giannis is going to be making. $47 million is what Embiid should probably be getting. Jokic, uh, Doncic. These are the type of names that Russell Westbrook is going to be getting paid as. He's not going to give you that type of production at this stage in his career. It's not going to do that. So, this sounds like if that's what the Lakers are considering doing, the one way I can look at it is they're not getting a trade that they like. They can't find a trade. They're trying to regain leverage in regards to the trade market, telling the market basically, hey, we're not desperate to get rid of them, so if you ain't gonna give us something we want, we'll hold on to them. That's the position that I think I would probably want us to take, I guess, in the public eye, because you don't want to seem desperate because they're gonna lowball you. So you got to prepare yourself for that. So I understand and agree with what we're saying and doing. I just hope behind the scenes it's that and not us actually trying to hold on to whom for real at that price. So, this is not a basketball conversation. This is a cap space conversation, which can then turn into many basketball conversations because you're not able to build your team to this or that. So you end up with players that can't compete and you end up losing or having players that are injured, et cetera, because they end up doing too much, aka what we had Braun and AD do this year, play in the center position. It wore them down. We didn't have the requisite amount of help to make it work because we had Russell Westbrook on that type of contract. That's kind of what made us as bad as we were, is having him at that price instead of having like 3 and 4 players represented at that price tag. So obviously, the Lakers are aware of their problems. So I'm inclined to believe that this is what I just described as them trying to get that leverage, trying to put it out there, say, yo, if you guys thinking about lowballing us, it ain't out the question for us to hang up the phone. We don't mind doing that. We understand that we hold something valuable because it represents you having cap space right now. If you acquire it and stretch it. So for somebody who wants to say pick up DeAndre Ayton, and they may have a couple players represented except $47 million that are wrapped up over the next several years. A guy like Tobias Harris, for example, who's on a contract that's for a couple years. Maybe a team like Philly, of course not in real life, but just for example, if they happen to need a center for some strange reason and suddenly they can get Ayton at that price tag, they need to be able to clear up that $47 million cap space so that they can give it to Ayton right now. They can't do that if they try to stretch 2 and 3 players that represent $47 million. Maybe they could try to trade to get that cap space free, as to which we can make that very easy because we have this $47 million expiring contract. You see what I'm saying? They can search the league for how to do it. Bam, we have that thing that you need. It ain't Russell Westbrook. It's $47 million worth of cap space right now. So that is the value of Russell Westbrook's contract. We don't hold that value because to us he's $47 million. But to somebody else, he's the idea of being able to get rid of $47 million worth of cap space that otherwise you cannot. So that's what the Lakers' leverage is. That's the value of what it is that we hold. And now that we understand that, there's no logical reason not to shop it, especially because we know that Phoenix doesn't have Ayton's money. So whoever wants Ayton literally should be on the phone with us if they don't have the cap space themselves. It's that real. I also look at James Harden's situation. He's a sign and trade option, I think, at this point. I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers are inclined to let go of him. I don't think that they want to let go of him. But at the price tag that he's going to ask for, I don't know that they can pay him. But they're not going to want to let him walk. I can totally see a situation where they would be interested in acquiring Russell Westbrook's contract for that, so that they can get it there, get rid of it, and then immediately have that free cap space to throw at a bunch of stuff that can make them a lot better, which is something they probably should be thinking about doing, to be completely honest with you. Given the fact that James Harden, we know, is not going to be a max contract player at $250 million. What he's earned in this league, he's not going to be able to represent properly, which is a flaw in the system itself. He should still be able to get his money and it not hurt the team's ability to build, which is something I think the NBA needs to look into in the next collective bargaining agreement. But nevertheless, this is something that we understand. And so I could totally see a scenario such as that coming about if things fall apart with negotiations in Philadelphia. So that's what the value is of Russell Westbrook's contract. So if the Lakers front office is, by the words that they said, actually following what they're thinking, if they really have none of that stuff I just said, and they're actually just saying, you know what, we actually think we can do another year with Russell Westbrook. Let's just roll the dice and not trade him, because we, in our minds, believe this is good for us. If that is the case, that is a crisis for Laker fans. That means that our front office is continuing the same process of being of misvaluing assets, of making bad decisions with their assets. That's all that tells me, that they're about to make another catastrophic mistake that compiles the same mistakes that they've already made, having not learned a single thing from the mistakes that they've already made. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. That's close to insanity, and I don't think anybody that's in a Laker uniform or in the Laker front office is insane. There's too much pressure being applied from other areas, including this very own channel, for them to get it right from the book standpoint. They'd have to be ignoring everybody in order for them to ignore the value of Russell Westbrook contract at this point. Holding on to it is not it at all. Period. Like I said, if you want him to play for your team, the best option for the Lakers is to get rid of him to a team that's going to waive him, and then try to see if we can get him in the buyout market. Halfway through the season, after the trade deadline, try to see if somebody is tired of him, and we'll pick him up, or we could trade for him at the value he's going to make sense at. If for some reason we just have to have him on our team next year, which I don't think anybody's saying that at all. I don't think anybody's in a desire to have him back next season in a Laker uniform. So, yeah, man. Just wanted to let you guys know what I think of that situation, what I think is actually happening behind the scenes. I don't think Russell Westbrook's going to be a Laker next year. I think it's a 0% chance that happens. Like I said, if it does happen, people are doing their jobs wrong, and we'll have conversations about how that goes, because I'll have a lot to say. So that's what it is, man. BDL 44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.